Get with Wally Jackson for the official intro.
There's 6 rounds in the middleweight division. Our referee is Mr. Dale Garabo. Introducing first in the blue corner. He weighed in at 159 pounds. As a professional, he has 5 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, with 4 of the victories coming by knockout. From Greenville, South Carolina, here is John Gordon. And his opponent in the red corner weighed in a solid 160. He is undefeated, 4 wins with 4 knockouts. From the Motor City of Detroit, I give you Gerald McClellan.
Another talented fighter from the Kronk stable.
McClellan is with Emmanuel Stewart.
Mm-hmm. You must, could you imagine, Harold, what it is to spar in the Kronk, in the middleweight?
Not at 160 pounds.
We just saw Fabian Williams, this young man, and I'm sure occasionally they'll throw Tony Robinson up there. Maybe it might drop down Michael Moore. So sparring at Kronk could be a long day at the office.
And don't forget Mike Tinley.
Official attendance tonight, 7,364. Another good crowd here. As we get underway with the 6th rounder, these are middleweights. John Gordon, who looks like he's about 35, a very mature-looking man from Greenville, South Carolina, bringing in a pro record of 5-1, and Big Gerald McClellan, another member of the Kronk stable, coming in undefeated at 4-0. He is 25 years old.
McClellan was originally from Milwaukee. I know he has at least 3 first-round knockouts, but he never fought anybody of note. He's never been in his tough. On the other hand, John Gordon was giving Steve Darnell a tough fight before Darnell stopped him on cuts.
Interesting, the big right hand already landed by McClellan, and he's probably looking for another quick knockout. Another right landed, and I'll tell you, Gordon is wide open, especially the way he carries that left hand.
John Gordon's an awfully big middleweight.
McClellan looks like he has one intent, and that is to knock people out. I don't think he's here to have a long night of it. Both men trying to establish a jab, but so far it's been a couple big right hands landed by McClellan has done the difference.
John Gordon. I was going to say, Hugh, I think Gordon's making a mistake by backing up on McClellan.
Left jab sticking out there, McClellan, and now another big right hand just barely misses, and that's the right that does land. And looks like McClellan looks like he wants to finish up shop here. I think I might stand corrected. McClellan is 21 years old. I think I said he was 25. And already the 21-year-old is taking it to the older 26-year-old counterpart. John Gordon in big trouble here. Round number 1 of 6. Middleweight mania here tonight at the Palace. Gordon trying to fight off the ropes, and we might add not too effectively as McClellan looks to load up in that big right hand, and so far he has.
You're 100% correct. McClellan is definitely loading up with that right hand. As a matter of fact, he's got that right hand out too far. He's leaving himself wide open.
But does Gordon have the technique, the talent to even take advantage of it this far? No. He certainly looks strong enough to hang with him, but...
he's a much bigger man. There's no question about that. He does look strong, but he's taking a pounding from McClellan. 30
seconds to go in round number 1 already. Gerald McClellan is a left hook, just rocks John Gordon, bounces off the ropes, and those ropes are loose.
They really should do something about those ropes. They're much too loose.
Everything landing now for Gerald McClellan, who's had a big round number 1, and John Gordon might want to head back to South Carolina. Big round for the man from the Kronk stable, Gerald McClellan, who brings a 4-0 slate in here, 87 National American Boxing Federation champion. Says his best shot is a left hook, and we saw both of his big shots. A big right stunned Gordon early in the round, and then it was a left which sent him against the ropes. Here is a big shot right there, the right nailing Gordon on the jaw and following it up with another right. He couldn't finish him up as John Gordon would hold on. And then here's the action late. He'll come up with a left hook and rocks Gordon back to the ropes. And looks how those ropes are so loose. Not a good thing. He says he admires Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns does Gerald McClellan. And it looks like there is a tremendous amount of talent at 160 pounds, at least here in Detroit, Michigan.
Maybe McClellan will fight the winner of Ernest Landed.
I got a feeling if those two gentlemen ever fight, that could be the end of both their careers. Not because too much damage. I think it'll make so much money they could call it quits.
I think there's more pride involved in a fight than money.
But certainly a nice payday would sue the loser. We can say that. Gerald McClellan and John Gordon, round number 2, a 6-round middleweight bout. McClellan looked like he comes out a little more determined to establish something, and we emphasize something. We don't know what. So far, it's been McClellan keeping that right hand out there, loading it up and nailing it pretty much at will. I think Manny would like to see a little more, a few more jabs and a couple more just setups by his young fighter.
Gerald McClellan certainly isn't showing us much defense. He's got his hands down low.
Yeah.
He's showing no respect for John Gordon at all.
And he'll pay for that in future bouts, too.
Without question. I mean, he certainly has to keep his hands in, his elbows inside the banner.
The big left hook, and bounce off the mat goes John Gordon. He's up quickly, though. But McClellan has got about 2 more minutes now to wrap his night of work up.
How much more of this can John Gordon take? I started to say Gerald McClellan certainly should keep his elbows in a little bit tighter and his hands held a little bit higher.
Another big right rocks John Gordon, and now McClellan going to town trying to just get him out of there.
And referee Grable is very, very close to stopping this fight.
Gordon, another right, and that'll do it. It looks like
that's it.
Dale Grable will stop the bout about a minute and a half into round number 2. Gerald McClellan continues his KOs. Hey, the crowd loves this kid. Big knockout. 145 of round number 2. A big right hand, and John Gordon will head back to South Carolina. Gerald McClellan goes to 5-0 with 5 KOs. And the man you're looking at right there, John Gordon, heads back to Greenville, South Carolina, 5-4-1 with 4 knockouts. So let's check into that first knockdown here in round number 2. A big left, a thunderous left, and Gordon got up very quickly, though. We thought, who knows what he could do the rest of this round. Here is the second round, as you see Dale Grable checking out very closely. Some infighting, and finally a right will be coming up right here. Boom, right on the chin, and down he goes, and down he went, and that's all she wrote. And up to Wally Jackson for the official time of knockout number 5 for Gerald McClellan. As we'll check out one more time, as we said, for the West Coast fans. They might have missed the first 2. Things a little slower out there, and a big right. Down goes John Gordon. Up to Wally for the official time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time, 1 minute, 45 seconds of the second round. Referee stops contest. The winner by TKO and still undefeated, Gerald McClellan.
A nice night of work for that young man, Gerald McClellan, age 21, a middleweight, now 5-0. We got more boxing here.
In a round that was in Royal Albert Hall, and had Mugabi on the floor 3 times. His opponent, Lester Yarbrough, 32 years of age, 8 years older than McClellan.
At the Palace brings us to our main event. This is 10 rounds in the middleweight division. This bout is sanctioned by the Michigan State Athletic Board of Control. Dr. Stuart E. Kirschenbaum, chairperson. Our referee is Mr. Bob Fisher. Introducing first in the red corner, weighed in at 162 pounds. As a professional, he has 17 wins, 18 losses, 6 wins way of knockout. From Jackson, Tennessee, let's welcome Lester Yarbrough.
Lester Yarbrough there from Jackson, Tennessee. Has lost 5 more than he's won.
And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the Kronk gold, weighed in at 162 pounds. As a professional, he has 23 wins, 2 losses, 21 knockouts. From the Motor City of Detroit, he is the WBO middleweight champion. I give you Gerald McClellan.
The McClellan couldn't have been more impressive than the night he won the WBO championship against John Mugabi. Now, every time Yarbrough has stepped up in class, he's been beaten. And generally inside the distance, you've got to go way back to 89 for his last good win. And that was a points win over 12 rounds against Knox Brown. And a 24-year-old McClellan, well, he can only get better. He lost fights back-to-back 3 years ago in 89. Dennis Milton and Ralph Ward, two pretty capable journeymen, outpointed him. But well back on the winning trail now, McClellan. And as I say, he's got that WBA title as well. Fair to say that 32 years of age, Yarbrough in the twilight of his career against his mean, hard, fast-punching champion in McClellan. Managed by Emmanuel Stewart from the Kronk Gym, and I believe also jointly managed by Mickey Duff. Good puncher, McClellan. And that's going to be the undoing, I think, of Yarbrough. A good body punch there from Gerald McClellan. And Yarbrough went down quite spectacularly. Well, the standing 8 count here being administered. Well, that's possibly the shape of things to come. Only 2 men have gone the distance when McClellan has won on points. One was Sanderline Williams, and the other one was Charles Hollis. And I tell you what, it's only because they could take a whack or at least avoid one, but this man Yarbrough getting whacked downstairs. He looks a bit older than 32. Oh, goodness me, once again there, McClellan ripped in a body punch. Yarbrough up at 2. Well, he's not going to last much longer, is he? Although he's still coming out for battle. And that's the thing about Gerald McClellan. He's going to intimidate fighters before they even get inside the ring with him. Such a fearsome puncher, chopping right there to the side of the head. And it's all over. The 3 knockdown rule. Well, the crowd weren't too happy with that. They possibly wanted to see a little bit more of McClellan. And what a fight that would be. Roy Jones against Gerald McClellan. Roy Jones, of course, robbed in the Seoul Olympics. And Roy Jones, in fact, took 9 rounds to beat Lester Yarbrough. But he was some good men. Yarbrough, likes of Glenwood Brown, Rod Douglas also. Rod Douglas, in fact, outpointed him over 8 rounds. Just goes to show the kind of power that McClellan has. Glenwood Brown only took 10 rounds to beat him, points. Knox Brown was beaten on points over 12. And Lamar Parks could only outpoint Lester Yarbrough. So that just kind of puts into perspective this punching display. There's the last one, I think. Oh, no, it was the first one, in fact. This dynamic punching display by Gerald McClellan from Detroit, Michigan, taking over where possibly Thomas Hearns will leave off. He can hit this fella. 21 of his 23 wins inside the distance before this. Now it's 22 out of 24. Very impressive record. And poor old Yarbrough might just have seen the last of things. It hasn't done him any good, obviously, going in with these decent fighters. They've all chipped a bit away from him. Go back 4 years. Christoph Chiozo beat him in 7. Steve Collins, the former WBA title challenger, beat him on points over 10. And Gilbert Dealey, the former WBA champion, took 5 to beat him. So that just really does put into perspective this performance by McClellan.
The knockdown rule is in effect. The official time, 2 minutes, 2 seconds of the very first round. Winner by knockout, Gerald McClellan.
Well, short night's work there, but nothing really could be expected.
Knocked out. World champion Michael Moore. That was a few years ago, but Michael Moore was a fighter back then. So Gerald McClellan has something to bring with him to this fight. Let's go to Wally Jackson now for the official introduction.
Metro 25 Fight Night at the Palace brings us to 8 rounds in the middleweight division. The third man in the ring is Bobby Watson. Introducing first in the red corner, weighed in at 161 pounds. As a professional, he has 12 victories, 11 defeats, 9 wins by way of knockout. From Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, here is Sammy Brooks. And his opponent in the blue corner, weighed in at 161 3/4 pounds. As a professional, 21 victories, 2 losses, 19 knockouts. From the Motor City of Detroit, I give you Gerald McClellan.
You know, Jim, always interesting to look at the physique of a journeyman as compared to a higher quality fighter, a guy from a different level of the game. Gerald McClellan, strong through the middle, well-proportioned upper body. And you always wonder about a Sammy Brooks type and how seriously they take training. Because I tell you, a body shot might do him in. He's, you know, you can just look at his midsection and say, man, he's not going to take 3 digs to the body. And the elbows are going to come in, and the head's going to be open, and away he goes. And so often it turns out exactly that way.
And one of the words on McClellan is he has a huge left to the body. Much like Thomas Hearns in his younger days, Thomas Hearns could dig with the left hand to the body and freeze someone and knock them out.
They want rounds from Brooks is what they want for Gerald McClellan, because they have bigger things in store for him. But since the injury put him on the shelf a little bit, even though he was in the gym, nothing replaces the real action of the ring. And they need to get him back on schedule. He's on track, but not quite on the schedule they had in mind for Gerald McClellan. That's the object of this exercise. It is not to give him a difficult night. Definitely not to give him his third loss.
McClellan, middle of the ring, working the left jab. Tried to get around and throw the left to the body. I think, Chris, he saw what you saw. That through the midsection, Brooks is not finely tuned.
You see the footwork. It's really not precise for Brooks. A lot of things lacking. He's raw. Huge difference in the skill level, the talent level. Stop. Wants to go to the body. So he'll drive off that back. But the injured knee, he fights for.
There's a left behind the right elbow from McClellan. It had something on it. There's another one. And Brooks, you saw it, Chris, 2 shots to the body, real good shots. And Brooks knelt down. Looked like he wanted to go down. And this one isn't going to go much further.
No, they're not going to get the rounds. He didn't want any more. You see that? He's
done.
Anymore. He's trying to signal Bobby Watson, come here.
Yeah.
Get me out of this, will you?
Sammy Brooks wants no part of this. The count is at 5.
He'll get up. He has to, because he's all right. Now, maybe he's going to wait him out. No. But if it goes to 3 minutes, it'll be a surprise. You know, McClellan
just waiting right now.
You know, he's just fighting the way you're taught to. Fight to win. You know, they want rounds, they want this, they want that, but you can't tell a guy not to go and finish it early.
Look at the left of the body. The right elbow of Brooks is right down there. He does not want that left to the body at all. Goes down again, right in the corner. That's it. Bobby Watson will stop the fight. It's over. Gerald McClellan inside 1 round, just around the 2-minute mark, gets the victory in a complete mismatch. I think I'm safe in saying that.
Yeah, well, you know, they were hoping to get a performance out of Brooks that would carry McClellan some rounds, get him some work with the headgear off and that sort of stuff. Didn't happen. So, you know, will Gerald McClellan come right back in a week or 2 if they can schedule something? I'd suppose they probably make the attempt, because they want to get him tuned up a little finer than he is, given the layoff. And because coming up not too long from now, they're looking at a title shot, WBO middleweight championship for him, against perhaps John Mugabi, maybe a Nigeria. You know, he doesn't care, but John Mugabi seems to be the target in terms of who it might be coming up in 6 or 8 weeks, in the early part of the fall, just around the equinox, perhaps. But, you know, he didn't get a darn thing out of this except a smile and a cheer.
And he'll get a check when he gets in tonight, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Because he probably got more work warming up in the locker room, breaking a sweat, than he did in this fight with Sammy Brooks, who came in at 12 and 11, but really offered nothing. Took 2 left hands to the body underneath and kind of dove to a knee. And then in the second knockdown, it was just, there was no rhyme or reason. He shouldn't have been in this fight.
No. Simple enough.
Just like that, Gerald McClellan goes to 22-2. Let's go to Wally Jackson now for the official time of the TKO.
Our referee, Bobby Watson, stops this contest at 2 minutes, 7 seconds of the very first round. Winner by TKO from Detroit, Gerald McClellan.
Gerald McClellan gets a big hand, raising his record to 22-2. Not much work for him, though, but he gets the victory, and hopefully down the road, in the not-too-distant future, a shot at
Jersey. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. The 3 knockdowns in 1 round would end the fight. Standing 8 count is also in effect. The physician can stop the fight. 3 judges. 10-point must scoring system. 10 points to the winner, 9 or less to the loser. And you cannot be saved by the bell in any round here.
Gerald McClellan and Brinatty Maquilon, and let's talk about the keys to victory.
Gerald says he wants to take his time in this fight, take it to the later rounds, give him angles. You don't want to stand right in front of Maquilon. McClellan is a clever boxer. For Maquilon, wants to get in and work the body of McClellan, and a quick start would be important for him because the longer the fight goes, we feel that McClellan might do better.
Well, let's get a quick start. Let's go up and meet these two now with Michael Buffer. Michael?
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Merv Griffin's Resorts Casino Hotel here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Tonight, Top Rank Incorporated and the undisputed, undefeated King of Beers, Budweiser, presents professional boxing for your entertainment. These bouts are all sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. Commissioner Larry Hazard Sr., Deputy Commissioners are Lawrence Wallace and R. Yogi Hiltner. Jerry Gormley is the chairman, and board members Milt Campbell and Gary Shaw. The 3 judges doing the scoring tonight will be Lynn Carter, William Kostrov, and Joseph Pasquale. Chief physician at ringside, Dr. Frank B. Doggett. Also in attendance, Dr. Eric Wormser and Dr. Stanley Eden. The 2 referees working on an alternating basis with an alternate counting for the knockdown seconds will be Arthur Mercanti and Rudy Battle, and the timekeeper is Arthur Spell. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get things started with 8 rounds. This is in the middleweight division, and the referee for this bout is Rudy Battle. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he's wearing the red trunks and weighs an even 162 pounds, originally from Cali, Colombia. Now fighting out of Queens in New York, his professional record 10-5 with 4 KOs. Introducing the Corona Cobra, Brinatty Maquilon. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the Cronco trunks with red letters. He weighs an even 162 pounds, from the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. His professional record is 13-2, all 13 victories by KO. Let's hear it for Gerald McClellan.
Okay, gentlemen, you've both received your pre-fight instructions. I expect a clean break at all times. Good luck to you. Let's shake hands.
So we are set to go as you look at Gerald McClellan, a Kronk fighter, and we, of course, will be talking about Kronk fighters as this night goes on. Emmanuel Stewart, the master of that gym, and Brinatty Maquilon from Colombia. He'd like to take this fight into the later rounds if he can. McClellan fast started and knocks him down. I mean, that's fast.
Legitimate knockdown, too, it looked like, from what I saw.
It was. I got that part right. And another good right hand by McClellan.
Wait a second, didn't I say McClellan would take it? Go back to those keys to victory. I don't think he was listening to me.
That is what he wanted to do, actually.
Yeah, he told us that's what he wanted to do. Did he lie to us?
Maybe.
He certainly started quick. He's got 10 knockouts in his 10 wins, so.
That was what former partner of mine, Sugar Ray Leonard, would call a flash knockdown.
Yes, definitely. And there's the knockout percentage. McClellan can hit, no question about that. He was a fine amateur, McClellan. We featured him a couple times in the Olympic Festival. He never won, but acquitted himself well there. Ironically, McClellan had some good amateur wars with Frank Lyles, another fighter who's now with Kronk that we may get a chance to see later in our show. And Mando Stewart, I guess, thought, well, I like them both. I don't care who won. I'll just snap them both up from my gym, and he did.
Kronk's in a real renaissance.
Good right to the body by McClellan, so he's not shy about getting off to a quick start here in this first round.
He has just not let Maquilon get off at all. Maquilon, you can almost sense him kind of standing back, taking a long look and saying, what is this in front of me?
He just wants to get through this first round so he can sit down and assess what he can do differently. Good hook downstairs by Maquilon.
Good body work by McClellan. Another right hand.
I think that one really stunned Maquilon.
I think it did too. I think he's hurt.
Well, they told us today his people said that they wanted Maquilon to move more, do a better defensive job. He hasn't. Maquilon is standing there. He's presenting McClellan with a stationary target, and that is one thing you really can't do.
Another right hand by McClellan. Very big first round by McClellan, and Maquillon's going to have some catching up to do. We'll be back.
If you've ever had a quicker knockdown than this, right hand off the temple, a little bit of a slip, but I'll tell you what, that was a good right hand that. His feet got tangled up, but he got hit with a punch. So I don't know if he was hurt, but later on in the round he was.
Corner there.
Yeah, well, and they really, I think, are surprised at what happened in that first round, because they wouldn't have expected Maquilon to be hurt. And even though that first knockdown, as you saw there, he wasn't really hurt, later on in the round he was stunned by McClellan right hand. In our reminiscences this last 3 weeks and the anniversary that wouldn't go away, the 10th anniversary, we showed Jose Santana knocking out Larry Russian in 19 seconds, our quickest knockout of the 10 years, but this was our quickest knockdown probably.
Look at the number of punches thrown in the first round, and McClellan starting the way McClellan has.
Yeah, and 39%, not too bad a percentage really when you're throwing that many punches.
Just did not let Maquilon get off. It's interesting, Maquilon only landed 6 punches in the first round, but there is a little swelling on the cheek of McClellan.
Using his jab very well to set up the right. There's a good example of it. I mean, he used that jab as a rangefinder, and it set up the left hook to the body and then the right hand. I will tell you right now, I saw Gerald McClellan several times as an amateur. He is really improved. Not that he was a bad amateur by any stretch, but I mean, his mechanics are infinitely better as a professional. So obviously they've done a good job at Kronk.
He looks very sharp today. Big week of boxing here in Atlantic City, and there'll be Kronk fighters literally every night.
Littering every card. There's a card tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. There's Tommy Hearns and Michael Moore boxing on Saturday. Hearns against Elijah Day. And you know we'll talk about that in Ringside Reports. Yeah, a little an amateur, McClellan used that uppercut a lot. And there it is again.
He does that. We talk about this often, but fighters who sit down on their punches and others who push their punches, and he sits down extremely well on his punches.
Maquilon just has not gotten on track here at all, Barry. I mean, offensively, he has done virtually nothing.
So we come to the end of the second round. There was Maquilon with a left hand. Maquilon, remember, wants to take this fight, if he can, into the later rounds. I want to remind you that coming up later tonight, we're going to look back on a fight that took place April 4th. It's going to be the first national television showing of this fight. Michael Dokes and Razor Ruddock. The fight was held at Madison Square Garden. Lasted 4 rounds. We'll have all 4 for you.
All of the rounds.
Everything.
Every single one of them. And it was interesting.
Yeah, size up Razor Ruddock. See what you think.
Yeah.
See where he fits in this heavyweight picture.
A lot of people thinking he's the heir apparent.
And you are looking in the corner of Brinatty Maquilon, who has not had it his way so far tonight, at least through the first 2 rounds of this fight. Round number 3, it's been all McClellan.
Total punches will be revealing. Look at that. Maquilon. 11 punches landed in 2 rounds.
It's not real good, is it? It's almost like McClellan, by jumping on him as quickly as he did at the opening bell, just took everything out of him.
Yeah, that, even just the fact that even though Maquilon wasn't really hurt by that right hand, the fact that he went down and the fact that McClellan continued the attack so steadily.
On your card, predictably, a shutout. Big shutout.
First round, a 2-point round because of the knockdown, and then McClellan taking the second round. There's still time for Maquilon to get things together here.
Threw a little hook right there, but he was leaping at the time. Maquilon's people did feel that McClellan will slow after the first few rounds. McClellan, on the other hand, looking forward, as you pointed out, the key is looking forward to going a distance and taking a fight a little bit further.
Yeah, that's what he said to us, and ironically, of course, he started quick. Oh,
huge shot. Still hurt. Rudy Battle's really going to look at this one real close. And this is not going to be allowed to go too much further. That's it, I believe. That's all. Rudy Battle wisely stops this fight. Maquilon never did recover from that shot. Well, that's pretty impressive performance for that young man.
Gerald McClellan, and when we get to see that combination that knocked him down the first time, it will be impressive. A left hook, right hand combination that packed a lot of power. Nice performance by Gerald McClellan. He is a young man, and there is Brinatty Maquilon, who took a couple of big punches there, but looks to be okay.
And meanwhile, in the other corner, Gerald McClellan. He's been getting guys out of there in a hurry. He's gone eight rounds, only twice. Interestingly enough, the 2 times he has gone 8 rounds, he's lost.
You'll see the left hook will come here, and the right. Good hand speed, and boy, you don't sit down on the right hand any better than Gerald McClellan did. The jab, the hook, but the right hand immediately. And look how quick and compact that right hand was.
Just excellent. I mean, that's textbook stuff. Let's make it official with Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Rudy Battle steps in and stops this bout at 1 minute, 42 seconds of the 3rd round. The winner by TKO. His record now goes to 14 victories, all 14 by knockout. Gerald McClellan.
Impressive win, a guy I feel quite certain you're going to see an awful lot more of. Gerald McClellan, a knockout winner over Brinatty Maquilon. We'll be back. And let's meet him.
Boxing ahead here on USA's Tuesday Night Fights. As a matter of fact, earlier, one of the fine young Kronk fighters, 22-year-old Gerald McClellan, had perhaps his biggest test of his young career, going up against the 31-year-old veteran Sanderline Williams, who had just about seen it all. Let's go to round one. And this is the first of 8 rounds, middleweights. It's the 22-year-old Gerald McClellan out of the Kronk Gym, 15-2 with 15 knockouts. The heavy knockout punch, including 10 KOs in the first round. And tonight he gets his biggest test against the veteran and rock-chinned Sanderline Williams, who comes in with a record of 24-11-1 with 14 knockouts. Williams, who has been in with 4 world champions. He has gone the distance against Iran Barkley and Frank Tate and Ronnie Essett and Don Lee and Nigel Benn and Reggie Johnson. Last fight 3 weeks ago, a 10-round draw with the undefeated James Toney from these parts. So a good test for McClellan.
And Sanderline Williams said in that Toney fight, said that he gave me a black eye on the left side, and then he said I started slow, but I started coming on at the end. He says he thought he beat James Toney that night. Gerald McClellan saw that fight, and now he's in the ring with the man he saw, Sanderline Williams. He said he's real clever and slick. Said he slowed a lot because of his age. Williams is 31.
Williams has been down only once, and that loss 5 years ago to Lindell Holmes when he was stopped in the 9th. McClellan has had 17 pro fights, 37 rounds of boxing, compared to Sanderline Williams in his 36 bouts has fought 256 rounds. The powerful youth versus the crafty experience in this one.
And the youth, McClellan, is working on settling down a little bit more. He's been too tense in his last few fights. This fight, he wants to go out there, check out his opponent from the opening bell, and try to take his time, set up his offense.
Sanderline won 14 of his first 15 fights, and 3 tough losses to Dwight Walker, the loss to Holmes, and to Harold Graham at a decision. Then he won 8 in a row. Biggest was a victory over Dwight Davison. But Williams upping the competition at this point of his career, looking for that one fight to turn it around. He's gone distance with some of the top fighters, but has come out second best. So he, in his last 10 fights, has won 2, lost 7 with 1 draw. Right now, steps in as an opponent against a prospect out of the Kronk Gym.
You know, you talked about those losses to Dwight Walker, Lindell Holmes, and Harold Graham. After the Harold Graham fight, he went to the library to read books to learn how to fight and also learn how to get in shape. The right things to eat.
Round number 2, Gerald McClellan, 15-2, 15 knockouts, 10 of them in the first round, so Sanderline Williams has passed that test, but 14 of his 15 victims have come in the first 2 rounds. McClellan was born in Freeport, Illinois, grew up in Milwaukee, started boxing at the age of 14. On the 1986 Eastern Olympic Festival trials, won a silver at the National Olympic Festival, and first onto the scene as a pro, winning his first 10 fights all by knockout, never having to go past the second round. And then, Sean, 2 fights against Dennis Milton and Ralph Ward, 2 awkward fighters, and he had his problems and lost 8-round decisions before coming back and taking the last 5 again all by KO.
And he is the first to admit, Al, that his inexperience got him in the Dennis Milton fight. He said he was also real tense. That's why now he's working on staying looser. Now, I just saw earlier in this round a nice, effective...
Williams is down here in the second. John Williams has just been standing in front of McClellan. We talked about the fighters that have given McClellan problems, the ones that moved, the ones that have been awkward, but Sanderline Williams a target right in front.
And this is where Gerald McClellan is at his best. The first few rounds, look at these punches from him. The telling blow that I talked about was the left hook to the body. That happened earlier in this round, and it really established McClellan's control in this fight. Right now he's got Sanderline Williams laying in on top of him, and that's just where Gerald McClellan likes to have his opponent, right on top of him so he can punch him.
In his 37-fight career, that's only the second time Williams has been down. The first time in 5 years since Lindell Holmes.
And Lindell Holmes is the only fighter to have stopped Sanderline Williams.
Williams is now bleeding from the forehead. But will the savvy, the experience of Williams pull him through this second round? McClellan bombing away inside, the uppercut. Williams' legs are shaky inside the final 30 seconds of the second. And now McClellan for the moment holds on, and off the break, McClellan gets a fist in the face.
Williams says that he just has a great defense. He says, I get hit a lot of times, but I don't get hit too solid. Well, he got hit with a good right hand solid, but he's been careful not to get hit after that. Not solid anyway, especially upstairs to the chin where he's still wobbly.
In that second round, Sanderline Williams put down for only the second time in his career. The other was Lindell Holmes. But Williams, showing his experience, his savvy, actually took McClellan the distance, 8 rounds, although McClellan won every round on every judge's card.
But McClellan could not come back with that right hand that he nailed Williams with in the second to put him down. When Williams was hurt, he knew just enough movement from him, he could get out of the way of McClellan's punches.
Well, McClellan, though, goes the distance. He needed one of those. He had 14 fights of his 15 wins. Ended in the first 2 rounds. A little experience of a decision win. Plus, at least he could say it's one of just a couple who have put down a rock chin, Sanderline Williams. So that fight earlier tonight here at Auburn Hills. We'll be back tonight.
Terry Norris, plus Julio Cesar Chavez meets Kenny Weiss on Schlick.
Of his knockout record, people are afraid to fight him. He blames the year-plus layoff since his last fight on promotional problems. That's Jay Bell. This is the champion. Gerald McClellan, who comes off that impressive 5th-round TKO of Julian the Hawk Jackson to win the crown this past May. McClellan, born in Freeport, Illinois, fights out of Detroit's Kronk Gym, trained by the highly regarded Emanuel Stewart. Stewart, of course, who has handled and trained several world champions, calls McClellan the best all-around fighter he's ever worked with. Quite a compliment for the man who trained 5-time world champ Thomas Hitman Hearns and is currently training Evander Holyfield.
An entrance, so back on this. Before I have to pull the strap off the cut, give me the microphone first so I can bust like a fire. Confident with my face together, like you would all fuck, cause ain't nothing but G. Most death trees, I'm a crazy set. Death row is the label that pays, man. Unfavorable, so please don't try to fake this. But back to the lecture at hand. Perfection is perfected from a land of understanding. From a young chick's perspective. And before me, they got a trick, I have to find the contraceptive. You never know, she could be earning a man, learning a man. Then at the same time, earning a man. And when she burning, I'm a chick with me. Cause ain't nothing good enough to get more on the bed. And that's where the real deal honey feel. And now you know that the house doesn't have a feel. But if it's good enough to get more of a fuck with chimp, I take a small piece of some of that funk stuff. It's like this and like that and like this and it's like that and like this and like that and it's like this and like that and like this and drink quick till I'm like
Gerald McClellan, who sports a knockout percentage of 86.7, and just for the record, he's had 17 first-round knockouts, and up until his last fight with Jackson, had 10 straight wins via KO in the first 3 rounds. to the numbers, the tail of the tape. And right away, the age difference jumps out at you. McClellan 9 years younger than Bell, the champion with the 2.5-inch height advantage. McClellan, who told us he struggled a bit with his weight, was 159.5 at last night's weigh-in. Bell at 157.5, and a 5-inch reach advantage for McClellan. And the WBC rules for this championship bout: the winner of each round gets 10 points, the loser gets 9 or less. 3 judges score the fight. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and a fighter cannot be saved by the bell except in the last round. So here at the Ruben Rodriguez Coliseum in Bayamon, Puerto Rico, we're closing in on the WBC Middleweight Championship. Let's get the official introductions from our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you y a todos nuestros amigos puertorriqueños, bienvenidos aficionados al box al Coliseo Rubén Rodríguez en Bayamón, Puerto Rico. Hoy tenemos una gran noche de boxeo que viene a ustedes por Don King Productions y Showtime. Well, fans, we have a big night of action coming your way. The Return to Glory, the Sunshine Showdown 2, brought to you by Don King Productions and Showtime. Bien, amigos, esta es la primera atracción especial de la noche por el título peso medio del Consejo Mundial de Boxeo. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council, the President Jose Suleiman, the supervisor at ringside Hector Garcia, along with the Puerto Rican Boxing Commission. Presentando a los jueces, introducing the judges at ringside: Ángel Luis Guzmán, Francisco Manzano, and Ladislao Sanchez. And introducing the referee in charge, he'll be giving instructions after the introductions, Tony Perez. All right, fans, here we go with the WBC Middleweight Championship of the World, scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing. Presentando al retador en la esquina azul. Introducing the challenger, fighting out of the blue corner on my right. He is wearing white trunks with red trim. Un peleador de Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pesando 157.5 libras. He weighed in at 157.5 pounds. Con récord de 17 victorias, una derrota y un empate con 16 victorias por knockout. His record includes 17 wins, only 1 loss, 1 draw, with 16 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the challenger, ranked number 8 in the world, presentando al retador número 8 en el mundo, the King of Sting, J. Bell. Y al campeón de la esquina roja, his opponent across the ring on my left, the defending champion, fighting out of the red corner. He is wearing gold trunks with red trim and is fighting out of Freeport, Illinois, and representing the world-famous Crunk Boxing Gym. Con un peso de 159.5 libras, he weighed in at 159.5 pounds. Tiene récord de 28 victorias y solamente 2 derrotas, con 26 victorias por knockout. His record, 28 wins, 2 losses, with 26 big wins coming by way of knockout. Welcome, the defending WBC middleweight champion of the world. Demos la bienvenida al campeón, the G-Man, Gerald McClellan. Once again, referee now to give instructions, Tony Perez.
Okay, McClellan, you usually have the instructions in the ring. 2 things you must remember: obey my commands at all times, and most important, protect yourself at all times. Right? Any questions? Shake hands. Good luck to the both of you.
McClellan told us yesterday his biggest problem is making weight, having the weigh-in the night before, approximately 27 hours prior to the bell, as opposed to the morning of the fight. as with tonight's fight, a huge difference. McClellan told us he was 176 for Julian Jackson and John Mugabi. He put on 16 pounds for those fights following the weigh-in. This is round one, scheduled for 12 for the WBC Middleweight Championship. Jay Bell in the white trunks, he's the challenger, and the trunk gold is the champion, Gerald McClellan. Bell, a former defensive captain for the Howard High football team in Chattanooga, 150-pound linebacker, off the field an honor student. And look at this!
A big left hook to the body, right in the solar plexus, it appeared to me.
Jay Bell is sprawled out on the canvas.
He cannot move. That's a shot right to the solar plexus that stops you. He either cracked the rib or he cannot move.
One shot to be a record. Unbelievable.
29 seconds into the first round, and he's counted out at that rate.
He's still down.
19 seconds.
And he's still down. And he's still down. Remember, those are kind of shots that take your leg out, that take your guts out. You can't get up if you want to get up. I mean, that's nothing but a terrifically placed shot.
I believe the previous record was Julian Jackson over Ishmael Negron, 50 seconds into the first round for a middleweight championship fight. And this should be a new world record as Gerald McClellan puts Jay Bell on the canvas. We'll get the official word momentarily, just seconds into the opening round.
Well, I'd like to see that in a replay because it's got to be right on the button. He just mouthed and he said that was a great body shot. Did Bell on the ground. Now, that's an understatement. That was a colossal body shot. I've never seen it happen that good.
I'll tell you what, I can't impress upon you enough the amount of strength you lose when you get hit dead in that solar plexus. All of the air leaves your body at once, and so does your strength.
That shot by McClellan was almost as good as Nolan Ryan's.
Well, I'll tell you what, in addition to what Bobby just said, it just short circuits all the nerves to your legs. Your legs don't move, nothing moves, and you go down your stage just like he did. I mean, that was an unfortunate thing for Bell, not a reflection of even his starting ability. He didn't even get started before it was over with, and that is just too bad for him.
Well, we mentioned the historical aspect. It may be the fastest KO in history.
I read the world record book once. The fastest KO in history was 10.5 seconds. It was, I think, a middleweight bout, too. I think the guy's name was Teddy Baker. I could be wrong about that. 10.5 seconds into the fight, he hit the guy, dropped it, and the referee didn't even count, just waved it off. He was out.
We did the Julian Jackson Ishmael Negron fight, and we were told that 50 seconds was the middleweight record, so we'll check all of this out, Bobby.
The middleweight record or the middleweight championship record?
Championship record.
And by the way, while we're far afield from that, he didn't look like he was 175, 176 pounds, did we, Sean? Well, fortunately, we can look at it in different ways, Bobby. So let's take a look and see where exactly that super punch came from. That's the only thing you can call us. Now, let's just keep your eyes on McClellan's hands there. Now, it goes over and a hook under.
There it was. Yeah. It was a tremendous counter.
Left hook under. Well, let's take another look at it.
Here's a better view, too, because you can see where he's slipping in. Boom, right underneath. Perfect. Right in the solar plexus. A very, very vulnerable spot. There's almost nothing you can do to stop it. And that's it. He's out.
Well, let's take another look. And, I mean, if this isn't enough to convince you, then we all ought to pack up and go home because he just got a beautifully, perfectly placed. Here comes the hook right under there.
Actually, that looked to be slightly under the rib cage as opposed to the plexus, but I saw Glenn McCrory, a cruiserweight, get knocked out by Lampkin with the same punch. Just couldn't get up.
Anywhere in that general direction is where that plexus of nerves are, and that will put you on the canvas to stay.
Bertie and Bobby, we just did receive a word that this indeed was, as we thought, the fastest knockout in middleweight championship history. Let's get the official announcement and the official time from Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time, 30 seconds in round number 1. Damas y caballeros, tenemos el tiempo, 30 segundos en el primer round. El ganador por knockout, the winner by way of knockout and still champion, the G-Man, Gerald McClellan.
Did you bring the swing down? Did you bring the swing down?
All right.
So Gerald McClellan with the fastest knockout in middleweight championship history, 30 seconds. His first title defense after the stunning 5th-round TKO over Julian the Hawk Jackson back on May the 8th to win the WBC middleweight title. I mean, Bobby, Jay Bell never even had a chance to get himself set.
He came out, he looked prepared, he looked ready to do battle, but the shot was so perfect and so quick, it just didn't happen.
As McClellan goes to 29-2 with 27 knockouts. Coming up next here at the Ruben Rodriguez Coliseum in Bayamon, Puerto Rico, will be our main event. You didn't think it was going to be coming up this fast, did you? The IBF Welterweight Championship.
Now don't let him go away now.
Felix Trinidad, at the age of 20, a national hero here in Puerto Rico, will defend his title against South American Luis Gabriel Garcia.
Michael, give me a foul.
Right now, we're set for post-fight reaction, so let's go up into the ring, and the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco.
Well, you said you were going to take care of fast action, my man, but that is an exaggeration.
Well, I came out there early, and I tried to set him up with a jab, and he missed a few times. I landed my favorite shot perfect. I couldn't miss.
You know, it took you longer to say that than it did to knock him down. You know, you broke the world record. Do you know that? They just told me from the truck you have broken the world record for quickness of knockout.
Well, if I'm a world champion, I have to pull upsets like that. You know, world records, fastest knockdown, fastest knockout. I'm going to do it all, Freddie.
Well, you start on the right foot. Anyway, you write any of this stuff for him, Emmanuel, or does that just come out fast? Yesterday, he couldn't even talk. He was so hungry, his eyes were going around his head. How about the middleweight? You going to stay here? You going to go up?
Well, I'm doing good at middleweight, and I can do better at super middleweight. You know, whatever Emmanuel and Don put together, middleweight, super middleweight, I'll be ready to take on anybody.
All right, Emmanuel, you had him back there. Emmanuel Stewart, who certainly had his share of great middleweights, Tommy Hearns and the rest. How do you rank this young man?
I've always told people that he has the ability to be the best fighter that I have ever had. But that's saying a lot when you look at how great Tommy Hearns is. He has so much talent, and you know, I've told people his best punch is his body punch. But it's going to be hard for him to have too many long fights because he's not just a hard puncher, he's an accurate puncher.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
That it did. And without tipping your hand, you are going to have something to say about the middleweights in New York sometime this week.
I certainly am. It's going to be a series of them, and we're going to have a big announcement coming up on Thursday in regards to the middleweight, super middleweights. And so Gerald will be right there in the band, you know, leading the band. So we're right there. It's going to be great and exciting for Showtime Boxing, because Showtime is #1 now, and I'm very happy about that. And I want to thank Tony Cox for helping me to make it possible.
All right, and now we go to the crestfallen loser, who apparently you just got paralyzed. Your legs just went out from under you.
Yeah, I got to give Gerald a lot of credit. You know, I trained hard for the fight, but he caught me on the button with a darn good body shot, and all the wind just left my body, and wasn't nothing I can do about it. And like you said, just too much paralyzed, man. It hurt real bad.
Well, when you're down like that, you say the wind is out. You feel your legs are dead out from under you, can't move them?
Yeah, I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't even get up. I couldn't roll over. I couldn't do nothing. I just had to stand at one spot, and it just hurt real bad. He caught me right on the button in the solar plex, and no matter how many sit-ups you do or whatever you do, no matter how much training you do, when a guy catches you right on the button just like that, there's nothing you can do.
Well, that's about as good a definition of a hard body shot as I've ever heard from the victim. And so we go back to Steve, who's taken his share of body shots.
He is the middleweight WBO champion, Gerald McClellan. He's up in a 10-rounder, a non-title fight, taking on Pittsburgh's Carl Sullivan, and that's our first fight of the evening. So to call the action, let's go now to ringside, and my partner, WNBC New York sportscaster Len Berman. Len?
Thank you very much, Cambrell Marshall. And the moral of tonight's story, if you're a boxer, is always be prepared. 3 of our 6 featured boxers tonight only got their call to arms for tonight in the last several days. And I'm joined, as always, by Joe Goosen. And Joe, and Carl Sullivan, he got his notice just 3 days ago to these fighting tonight. And here's a fellow who hasn't fought in nearly a year. That may be trouble.
That's right. He's been plagued by a few injuries. He had some cartilage, or I should say some calcium deposits on his knuckles. That kept him out for a while. He says he's in good shape, but he's got his hands full with Gerald McClellan tonight. A real top-notch prospect in the middleweight division.
All right, McClellan is the WBO middleweight champ. This is a non-title fight tonight, but he won the championship by knocking down John the Beast Mugabi last November 3 times in the first round. So McClellan certainly has firepower.
Right. He's knocked out, like I said, 22 opponents. Of course, a lot of people might make the case that Mugabi was a little over the hill. Of course, Terry Norris had knocked him out at junior middleweight in the first round also. But nonetheless, Emmanuel Stewart says this kid really has a lot of talent. He and Roy Jones and a few other middleweights are going to be the future of the middleweight division.
Okay, let us start as usual with our Goosen's Corner feature, an inside look at the boxers, and let's begin with Carl Sullivan.
Right. Carl Sullivan, a fine gentleman, too. We talked to him today, and he says he's in tremendous shape, but he's going to probably have to shake loose a lot of ring rust. He hasn't fought in over 330 days, so he's got to use a lot of lateral movement, irregardless of what shape he's in. Use his reach, even though he says it's a 77-inch reach, McClellan says he has a 79-inch reach. He's got a box. That's what he's got to do with McClellan, because McClellan is a tough come-in brawler.
And there's Carl Sullivan, comes with the nickname the Irish Assassin, only because of the name Sullivan, nothing else. Native of Pittsburgh, 12-4 record with 8 knockouts. But the thing to watch with Carl is that 3 of his last 4 fights ended in losses, and he lost those 3 by knockouts. So he is certainly not a hot boxer as he enters the ring against Gerald McClellan. And Joe, Goosen's Corner on McClellan.
Well, Gerald McClellan, who really wasn't anticipating fighting Sullivan tonight, but was in training camp anyway. He's got to start quickly. Of course, that's been his thing to do in the past. That's why he has so many knockouts in under 3 rounds. And he's got to pressure Sullivan here, hopefully catch him cold with a little of that rust on him, and take him out early.
And Gerald McClellan from Freeport, Illinois, now wearing the gold colors of the Kronk Gym in Detroit, comes in 24-2 with 22 knockouts. And if you like to keep track of statistics, all 22 of those KOs have come inside 3 rounds. So don't blink when it comes to Gerald McClellan. And our tail of the tape for our first fight this evening at the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. Carl Sullivan, Gerald McClellan. Sullivan a year older. McClellan claims to be 6'1", and Sullivan thought he had a great reach at 77. McClellan checks in at 79 inches, so Sullivan may be in for a surprise.
And as you look at McClellan right now, he is rather tall and rather long.
Our New Jersey State rules, Joe, a 10-point must system, standing 8 count is in effect, as is the 3 knockdown rule. You cannot be saved by the bell in any of the 10 rounds this evening, and the doctor or referee can stop the fight. Right now, let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the pre-fight introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Trump Taj Mahal here on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey, where tonight main events in association with TVKO, along with the undisputed, undefeated king of beer, Budweiser, presents professional boxing for your entertainment. All the bouts tonight are sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. The officials assigned as judges to this first bout will be Frank Brunette, Gene Williams, and Richard Strange. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Tony Perez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this bout scheduled for 10 rounds in the middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing the emerald green with black colors, weighing in at 162 pounds from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His professional record, 12 victories with 8 KOs against only 4 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, the Irish Assassin, Carl Sullivan. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the Kronk gold and weighing in at 164 pounds from the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. His record, 24 victories with 22 KOs, only 2 defeats. He currently holds the WBO middleweight title not on the line tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the G-Man, Gerald McClellan.
Gentlemen, you've already been given your instruction in the dressing room. Give me a good clean fight and I will not bother neither one of you. 2 things you must remember. Obey my commands and protect yourself at all times. Shake hands and good luck to the both of you.
All right, so middleweights scheduled for 10. Look at the difference in first round knockouts. As we mentioned, McClellan can do it quickly, and here they come. McClellan in the gold, Sullivan in the green. McClellan certainly looks taller, but 6'1", we're not sure about.
Well, he certainly looks taller, and he certainly looks like he has a longer reach, too. That's evidence in that
jab. Yeah.
Right, in those 3 jabs right off the bat.
Another good jab from McClellan. Sullivan missing with the right. And again, snapping the head back of Sullivan. McClellan does with the jabs. Boy, the more we talk to him, the right hand staggers him. And another one, and down he goes.
Fight's over.
That is it. Gerald McClellan with the first hard punch he landed. Virtually ended it at that point.
Beautiful, really beautiful setup by Gerald McClellan. He set him up with those long, quick jabs, stood him up against the ropes, dropped a sharp right hand right on the button, and now you see why he's got 23 knockouts now. He is a sharp, sharp puncher. Looks like this kid could go a long way.
Sullivan's corner asking Tony Perez why he stopped it so quickly. Well, we'll see why in the replay.
Here we go. He just touches him with that jab, and bingo, right on the chin, and the mouthpiece almost comes out. His eyes really went in 4 different directions here. Here's another overhead view here. This is earlier in the round when he first landed McClellan first landed those solid jabs, backing up Carl Sullivan. And Sullivan really never got a chance to get on track here. Bingo. Oh, right on the side of the chin. And you can see him doing the funky chicken right there. He gets clipped with another right hand, and he's out. There's no sense in even counting or letting him have another chance.
Joe, I saw you wave to me after the first punch that you thought it was over.
I saw his eyes light up. They rolled back like a couple of slot machine numbers right there. And, you know, that's a telltale sign when you see those eyes go like that. They're pretty much out cold on their feet.
The doctors were checking Sullivan as he sat on the stool. Now he is up and shifting his feet. But we had mentioned about the early firepower of Gerald McClellan. You saw it quickly there. But, of course, we also mentioned the fact that Carl Sullivan had not fought in nearly a year and had lost 3 of his last 4. So I think the setup for both fighters was very accurate. And McClellan taking out Sullivan just 40 seconds into the first round, unofficially. And that may be a TBKO record. In fact, I'm sure it is. And I'm told, by the way, that McClellan threw 15 punches, landed 11. Sullivan threw 2 punches, landed neither. And the CompuBox people who have been doing this the last several years say this is only the second time in their history that there's been a shutout. Sullivan was 0 for 2 throwing punches in the fight. How'd you score that one, Bert Sugar? Bert Sugar is with us tonight, everyone, from Boxing Illustrated. He was going to be our unofficial scorekeeper and judge with us. And
the minute you asked me I was going to do Gerald McClellan, I knew that this was not going to be a tough fight to judge. I mean, he's taken out, what, 9 or 10 men in the first round, and he was fighting a man who had not fought in a while. Yeah. I just figured I'm not going to get a real chance here, Len, to explain the daggone thing because it's going to be over.
All right, leave the pen in your pocket. All right, let's check out Michael Buffer, who has the official announcement for us now.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Tony Perez steps in to stop this bout. 45 seconds into the very first round, the winner by TKO, the G-Man from the Motor City, Gerald McClellan.
So the official time, 45 seconds of the first round. And if we get a couple of more like these, Bert, we'll all go home early. You know, to check the official statistics, that is the 16th first round knockout in Gerald McClellan's career, and this was only his 27th fight. So this is a boxer you'll be hearing about. And let's send it back into the ring, and my partner, Joe Goosen.
All right, I got to clear up something real quick with Len Berman. Gerald, how tall are you?
6 even.
All right, 6 even. We had you listed at 6'1". Okay. Tony Ayala Sr. there standing next to you. Now let me ask you, Gerald, was it supposed to be this easy for you tonight?
Well, like I told you in my room, I was going to take my time and box, work the jab up and down, and I'll find an opening somewhere, and the opening came. I went for it.
You were hitting him with that jab at surprisingly, with very little effort, and everything you were throwing seemed to land on.
Well, I worked on my jab a lot, you know, on a heavy bag, trying to master it up and down, hook off the jab, and it worked for me.
Did you know when you hit him with that right hand he wasn't getting up?
Well, I was just telling Emmanuel I have a tendency every time I land the right hand on the chin, I turn and walk before the opponent falls because, you know, I'm confident in it. So, but I came back and jumped on him.
Now, obviously, I know Emmanuel would like to move you up in some competition. Of course, you've had your share of real good competition. What would be the next step that you would like to take in the middleweight division?
Well, I'll lead it up to Emmanuel. You know, whatever Emmanuel put together, I take. But it's a lot of middleweights out there. I would never pick no name because, you know, no grudge match, you know, I got on my mind. But one guy I would like to challenge is always calling me out is James Toney. And I think he watching this fight, and I hope he give me a chance to fight for the IBF title.
Let me bring Emmanuel Stewart in here, Gerald's trainer. Emmanuel, now, Gerald brought up the name James Toney. Of course, he's booked for the next few months. But have you had any sort of talk with him?
Well, I've already spoke to Bob Arum, and he has expressed a great interest in having Gerald fight the winner of the Mike McClellan James Toney match. And we don't know who's going to win that because Mike couldn't possibly win that. But we are very interested in fighting the winner. I think that Gerald is definitely, I think, one of the best middleweights in the world right now.
That's right. You certainly looked at it. Did you get hit with anything tonight?
Well, I got hit with either a right hand or a hook. Caught me across the top of my eye. It stings a little bit, but, wasn't much.
All right, well, listen, it was a beautiful effort. It didn't last too long. I wish we could have seen a little bit more of you, but I'm sure we will next time out. Emmanuel, Gerald, congratulations.
I'd like to say hello to my family and friends in Freeport, Illinois, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Erie, Pennsylvania. And this fight goes out to my friend Lanny, couldn't make it tonight, and my homeboy Baldy back in Freeport.
All right. Congratulations again. Len, we're going to send it back to you ringside now.
Grand Garden in Las Vegas, the main event, Gerald McClellan versus Gilbert Baptist for the WBC Middleweight Championship. Well, as we close in on McClellan and Baptist, once again another case where an opponent has bowed out because of injury at the last minute. McClellan was all set to fight #1 contender Lamar Parks, but he was shelved by an injured shoulder. So McClellan has to suddenly gear up for a different opponent. And as if that weren't enough, down the road, a very short road, he's got a rematch with former champion Julian the Hawk Jackson in early May. Now, all of these factors could prove distracting. It'll be interesting to see how McClellan handles it. As we go backstage into the private quarters of Gerald McClellan, moments away from his second defense of the WBC middleweight title. The explosive McClellan won the title back in May of '93 with a stirring fifth-round knockout of Julian Jackson. McClellan has proven without a doubt that he is one of the hardest punching middleweight champions in the world.
Well, it was a hard fight from the beginning. It was like a real emotional fight, a lot of hard punching. On the 5th round, Emmanuel was telling me the fight was dead even before the 5th round began.
When Gerald McClellan, a 28-year-old from Freeport, Illinois, knocked out Julian Jackson, he not only won the WBC Middleweight Championship, he became the heir apparent to Jackson's unofficial title of boxing's hardest hitter, pound for pound.
It's a scary feeling when you hit somebody and knock him out, knock him unconscious. You could tell before the person falls that he's on his way down. When I land a good shot, a right hand or left hook, it's a good feeling. It's like, to me, knocking somebody out is like, it's like having sex, you know what I mean? It's a good feeling.
Trained in Detroit's fabled Kronk Gym, McClellan earned his reputation as a knockout artist by ending all 29 of his wins early, 25 of them before the end of the 3rd round. Yet unlike many sluggers, he systematically sets up his opponents with combinations, often ending with his favorite punch, a left hook in between the solar plexus and the kidney.
You get hit with a shot like that, right on the money, picture perfect, you'll go down anybody with it.
And in his first title defense, it was this left hook that wrote McClellan into the history books. What's gotta be a record? Unbelievable!
The minute it landed, I knew it was over, because I seen when I hit him, I kind of like took a step backwards and I seen him just fall.
Boxing's most dramatic, most exciting moment is that split second when a fighter is separated from his senses. And while McClellan's punching power overshadows his considerable boxing skills, he knows that any of his fights, including this one, his second title defense, can end ever so quickly.
I don't see the fight going no more than 3 rounds. Because 3 rounds give me enough time to box, give me enough time to punch, figure the guy out, defense. 3 rounds is enough for any fight to me.
All right, on the subject of last-minute changes, did a last-minute change of opponents ever affect you, Bobby?
Not in any drastic fashion, but I always asked for, or more accurately demanded, a videotape. Because I'd spent so much time guiding my mind and my body to react to a certain opponent. If it's a jab or right hand that I always want to work on slipping or a counter, and to have a new opponent thrust at me, not know anything about him, would absolutely drive me crazy. So I don't think it ever affected me because I got the video.
Yeah. Is Gerald McClellan focused enough so that the change of opponents won't affect him this evening?
Gerald McClellan's a good and talented champion. And not only is he a good and talented champion, but he has a trainer who has been around forever, and much like my trainer, Tom Parks, is a strategic genius. They will be able to solve whatever they have to here tonight. I believe that they will do it.
And Ferdy, does Baptist have what it takes to stop a guy like Gerald McClellan?
That's very difficult. There are two different class of fighters. McClellan's right at the top of the heap. And because of his weight problems and things, Baptist has a chance if he survives and stays awake after past 5 rounds. McClellan, on the other hand, you've heard him say he'll get him out in 3. Well, those kind of little predictions backfire on you if you don't get him out. So that's about what we're going to look at. Can he get him out in enough time, or will he wear out if he doesn't get him out and tries? As far as the difference between the two, you've got to admit that Gerald McClellan's head and shoulders above Baptist in talent.
All right, with that, let's take our first glimpse at 30-year-old Gilbert Baptist, born in New Jersey, lives in San Diego. Baptist, a record of 28-16 with 12 knockouts, comes off a 10-round decision over Armando Campos in Verona, California, back on November 17th, 1993. Gilbert Baptist getting his second crack at a world title. His first shot came in November 91 when he lost via decision to Gianfranco Rossi for the IBF Junior Middleweight Championship in Italy. And now here is the champion, 26-year-old Gerald McClellan, with a record of 29-2, 27 KOs, won the WBC middleweight title with a stunning 5th-round TKO over longtime champion Julian Jackson in May of '93. Tonight he makes his second defense of the title.
Nobody move, nobody get hurt. I'm the type of girl that's down for my nigga. I lie for my nigga, feeling down for my nigga. See, he don't mind me flirting. Damn type of certain niggas when it's all over, it's certain. But they don't know won't hurt. They searching on him, I got the jack in my skirt. And my dude is in the right. My niggas like that, shit ain't so close. We'll come out them clothes, my nigga can fit those. You ain't seen nothing till you seen us both jacking. Pulling on the side of 2 straight racks.
Got me a damn girl on my team.
The Bonnie and Clyde team, yeah. Got me a down ass nigga on my team.
The Bonnie and Clyde thing.
See, every now and then my man had a plan to hook me up with his closest friends. Take me to the bar and make me go and kick it. Let him think he's getting over while I go for his riches. Robbing, stealing, killing that wheeling. Always on the go, cause the shit was always so. Giving up the phone, keep vibes to all you folks. Keep trying to stick together like us and move on. Like Bonnie and Clyde, we don't slide right ahead.
Gerald McClellan off his first title defense back in August, making quick work of Jay Bell, knocking him out with a body shot 30 seconds into the first round in Bayamon, Puerto Rico. 18 of McClellan's 29 victories have come by way of first round knockout. Time now to check the numbers. Let's go to the tail of the tape. At age 30, Baptist is 4 years older than McClellan. The 4.5-inch height advantage for McClellan. The weight nearly even. And a big 7.5-inch reach advantage for McClellan. And the WBC rules for this championship bout: 10-point must system, 3 scoring judges, no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and a fighter cannot be saved by the bell except in the last round. So coming up here at the MGM Grand Garden in Las Vegas, it's Gerald McClellan and Gilbert Baptist for the WBC Middleweight Championship. We are set for the official introductions. Let's go up to our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the Grand Garden here at the world's largest hotel, casino, and theme park for our featured bout of the evening, Global Warfare, brought to you by Don King Productions, the MGM Grand, and Corona Beer. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council, the President, Jose Sulaiman, Supervisor at ringside, Bobby Lee, along with the Nevada State Athletic Commission, the Chairman, Dr. Elias Ghanem, Commissioners Nat Carasali, Bruce Lane, Luther Mack, and Dr. James Nave, the Executive Director, Mark Ratner, physicians at ringside, Dr. Flip Omansky, Dr. William Berliner, Dr. Al Capana. Timekeepers at the bell also keeping count of the knockdowns. We have James Cavan and Mike Lasella. Introducing to you the judges as appointed. Herbert Min, Dave Moretti, and Barbara Perez. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, it's showtime! The WBC Middleweight Championship of the World, scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing. The referee in charge of this bout to give instructions after the introductions, Richard Steele. All right, fans, introducing to you first the challenger on my left, fighting out of the blue corner. He enters the ring wearing white trunks with blue trim. He is representing the Mongoose Boxing Club in San Diego, California. He weighed in at a ready 158 1/2 pounds, and his record includes 28 wins, 16 losses, with 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Introducing the challenger, known as the Sweet Sensation, Gilbert Baptist. And his opponent across the ring. On my right is the defending champion fighting out of the red corner. He enters the ring wearing green trunks with white trim and fighting out of Freeport, Illinois. He weighed in at 159 pounds, and his record includes 29 wins, 2 losses, with 27 big wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight he is making his second defense of his title. Please welcome the hard-hitting WBC middleweight champion of the world, known as the G-Man, introducing Gerald McClellan. Once again, here's your referee in charge, Richard Steele, now to give instructions. 12-round scheduled out.
Okay, I spoke to both fighters in the dressing room. Caution again. Obey my commands at all times. Shake hands, good luck.
My apologies, I looked over at your shirt.
And the first thing, Purdy, we notice is that no Emmanuel Stewart in the corner of Gerald McClellan. We understand there was a disagreement between Stewart and McClellan over strategy for tonight going into the fight. And apparently there was a split. Boy, it's been a tough year for Stewart, losing Evander Holyfield. He just got back with Tommy Hearns. But this is the news coming into this fight.
Yeah, I talked to him yesterday. He's disappointed at his attitude and not losing weight like he wants him to, and just the strategy. He doesn't want him to come out here and bomb Baptist. He wants him to box, and of course, McClellan's idea is I'm going to get him out of there in 3. Why should I train hard? There's the first good hard punch.
McClellan said he wants the early knockout. Heavy-handed, explosive, lightning quick, going for the thunder there. Looking to end it in the first minute. There goes Baptist down, crumbling to the deck.
And he's in bad shape. The punches of McClellan are really rock hard. Look at him, he looks like an Olympic starter, a sprinter trying to get in there.
And he comes back to finish it off. Baptist in dire trouble. A swarming Joe McClellan dumping up on the left, smothering Baptist with punches. Baptist goes down to his back.
3. This is academic here. His body shots, his head. Look at him, he doesn't know where he's even at. Richard could.
Hey, you okay?
He's going to let him.
You okay? Come on now, let me see. Come on, let me see you. Wait. You okay?
He wants a response from Baptist, and he finally gets one.
Richard trying not to make a mistake.
And that is it.
No, it's not. He's not going to counter the point. But see his eyes? His eyes aren't there. His eyes aren't there. That's it. Richard did the right thing. The towel comes in, although the towel has nothing to do with it. Archer did the right thing. Steele, who has been in the middle of controversy because he stopped it early, he doesn't exactly did the right thing. He let him go when he responded, but then when he looked in his eyes, it's all over.
Well, or without Emmanuel Stewart, Gerald McClellan goes right out there and ends this thing in the first round, just as he had predicted.
Well, and as a follow-up to that, I think that's one of those temporary lover spats that happens between managers and fighters. I don't think Emmanuel Stewart is in any way out. I think they will make it up.
Well, the same thing happened with Tommy Hearns, and he came back to Tommy Hearns. And
Don't take the shoe off.
we understand that Bobby Ches is standing by with Emmanuel Stewart.
He can walk all right on that.
And we're going to go to Bobby right now to get further explanation. Chappie?
Thank you, Steve. I'm here with Emmanuel Stewart, the renowned trainer of the Kronk Gym, and also Gerald McClellan's trainer. I was just talking about how you would be in his corner and take care of anything that he might need, and you're not in the corner. What was the story with that?
Well, you know, I'm also the manager and trainer. And in particular case here, I've been so busy with other fights, as you know, a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't had the time to really train him, and I didn't think that this fight particularly was going to be that difficult. So I just let the guys who've been working with him and training get a chance to be exposed on TV and work with him.
But the relationship is still solid and everything's fine between you and Gerald?
Still as manager right now. Next time, if I have time to train him, fine. But for this particular fight, I didn't have time to really train him properly.
Okay, well, I can understand. I've seen many fighters who have trainers, and the fighters get mad.
Oh,
you know, they get upset. I know Livingston Bramble and Tommy Parks, you know, Tommy was training him. Tommy was training me. One day, you know, Livingston told him by mail, "You're just not my trainer anymore," because you went with Bobby to training camp, and it becomes difficult. I'm sure you have to have a lot of dissension from time to time.
Well, you're going to always have that when you have a big stable of fighters. In the last 2 weeks, I've been very busy. You know, Tommy's fought twice, and there's some other fights I've been working on. And this particular fight, in particular after I found out what was happening related to Lamar Parks, the original opponent. So the guys that have worked with him have been doing a good job with him, and they've been training like 8 weeks, which I didn't have that kind of time to spend in Las Vegas, and it was very difficult to train back in the East because of the extremely bad winter that we've had.
Well, I know in the amateurs, you were the only one to beat me, and that beat me in the pros as the trainer of the fighter, so I hope me and Tommy get to the table so I can get one back from you.
Well, I think the way it's looking, we better do that real soon. We don't need any more tune-ups between you two. And we're going to be working with Don King, and he's trying to put together, hopefully, where you and Tommy can be fighting probably in the next 90 days. For some kind of a title.
Okay, now who's next? Who are you training next, and where are you going with the stable? I know the gym is always producing tremendous fighters, and I credit a lot of that to you.
Well, we got Leon Zababa right now, WBO light heavyweight champion we've been working with. But the main thing that we're really focusing a lot on, particularly, is really getting Thomas ready for the big fight with you.
Well, I'm excited about it. Everybody knows at home that I think it's a fight that I thought should have happened back in the late 80s. It's a great fight and something I'm looking for, but I appreciate you stopping and talking with us. I'm going to throw it back to Steve Albert at ringside.
All right, Bobby, that may be the first time a fighter negotiated a fight for himself during an interview. Unbelievable. But Emmanuel Stewart has called Gerald McClellan his best all-around fighter. We're set for the official decision, the official word from Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout has been stopped at 1 minute 37 seconds in round number 1. The winner by way of technical knockout and still champion, the G-Man, Gerald McClellan.
So apparently much ado about nothing as far as Emmanuel Stewart was concerned, as he discussed with Bobby Ches. There is not a split. He just felt he was too busy to be in the corner of Gerald McClellan and should be back in the corner when McClellan has his rematch with Julian Jackson on May the 7th. So Gerald McClellan makes easy work of Gilbert Baptist, and the fight doctor is standing by in the ring.
That easy? You thought it was going to be that easy?
Well, I worked hard. It's the hardest I ever trained, the longest I ever trained. 7.5 weeks. Everybody thought I had a problem making weight, but I got it off like 2 weeks ago real easy. And I feel real good out there, strong. You know, thanks to my man right here, Willie Brown, for sticking with me, putting up with my attitude for the whole time, but it was good.
Well, maybe that's why you're such a tough fighter. You got a tough attitude.
Well, you know, this is a rough sport, you know, rough game. You got to be tough. The good guys don't make it in this game.
All right. Do you think you were looking, the question was, were you looking past this guy to Julian Jackson? Well, if you were, there was no evidence of it.
Like at the press conference, me and Julian had a few words. I was telling Julian if he respected me like he said he do, you know, get off my case about the fight, because I have a tough fight in front of me, and take one step at a time.
So you are ready for Julian Jackson?
I'm ready for Julian Jackson. Anybody out there wants Julian Jackson, James, Tony, Roy Jones, all the big name guys, because my name is big too. So I don't know if we can make a big pay to get together.
Well, the last little thing we got to say is that Emmanuel Stewart, who wasn't in your corner, has just been interviewed there and said, listen, we're still manager and fighter. We're still friends, and we're going to be working together in the future. Have you got anything to add to that?
Well, I don't want to say nothing about that. You know, Emmanuel know what he did, and I'm not going to criticize nobody on national television. I'm a better man than that. But, you know, if it's up to Emmanuel, we work things out. If not, I'll keep doing what I did tonight.
All right. And on that note, we go back to Steve at ringside.
All right, thank you very much for
championship. Hello again, everyone. I'm your host, Jim Hill. Coming up next, we've got the rematch of middleweight knockout artists, Gerald McClellan and Julian Jackson. Now, the average length of bouts for McClellan is less than 3 rounds. Jackson's fights average less than 4 rounds. So a year ago, when these two explosive boxers met in the ring, it was like a bomb, ready for detonation.
The date was May 8th, 1993. The champion, Julian Jackson. Nicknamed the Hawk for his ability to swoop down and destroy his opponents, he ruled the WBA junior middleweight and WBC middleweight divisions for the last 6 years. And with 43 KOs in 47 fights, Jackson had earned a reputation as one of boxing's most powerful punchers. The challenger, one of boxing's best-kept secrets, Gerald McClellan. Although he ended 25 of his 27 fights early, 17 in the first round, national fame continued to elude this 25-year-old prodigy from Detroit's fabled Kronk Gym. And while boxing insiders were unsure of who would win this fight, they all knew it would be a war. And they were right.
Gerald just came on the scene, and he was like unknown to us. But I knew that, from what I heard, that he was a very tough fighter. And I saw him live in Mexico, and he fought, and he was straight up. And I said, man, I'm going to take this guy, you know.
But just minutes into their fight, Jackson discovered a problem with his prediction.
There it is, a big right hand.
And Jackson is rocked in the opening minute.
To my surprise, he didn't stand straight up, but he moved back, you know, and my punches was just a little short, and he was just stepping back, you know, and that's something that threw me off.
In the second round, Jackson confused the younger challenger by dramatically altering his strategy, relying on his boxing skills instead of his punching power.
He kind of like got his momentum going that second round.
Big right hand by Julian Jackson.
At the end of the second round, he had a big finish, so I had to go back to the corner, regroup, and start my game plan all over again.
I knew I had him beyond a shadow of a doubt. I went back to my corner, and I was so confident, you know, and I was saying it's just a matter of a couple of rounds now, and I know he will be finished.
With renewed confidence, Jackson resumed his aggressive attack, hoping to finish the fight early, when suddenly the referee, Mills Lane, was forced to momentarily stop the action.
I said, man, wow, I was really upset. I was mad, and instead of getting back into the fight, you know, I more wanted to get back at him, you know, and lost control.
After a relatively slow fourth round came what many consider to be the best round of 1993. Halfway through the round, Jackson, who had been working McClellan's body, inadvertently went too low.
Lane said I had 5 minutes to recover, and Julian was looking at me, and to me he was getting stronger and stronger. So I figured, you know, the sooner I get up, the better. When I got up, he came right at me, and he stood right in front of me. That's when I caught him with the right hand and 2 left hooks.
I sort of went straight into that punch, and I saw it coming, and I couldn't get out of the way because I was just rushing in.
A left hook by Gerald McClellan almost sent him through the ropes.
He is in serious trouble. His legs are not there. This fight could very well
wanted to continue, but I was hurt, you know, and the referee used his discretion and did the right thing, you know, and the fight was over.
It's over! Now, months later, Jackson has become obsessed with the need to regain his title and extract his revenge.
Last night I was just in bed lying, and, you know, I actually saw the fight. I'm giving him a boxing lesson, and I'm actually showing the world that a side of Julian Jackson that they haven't seen.
Because like he said, he's been eating, sleep, and dreaming. You know, Gerald McClellan, and he's going to come get his belt back. One thing I can do, you know, by saying things like that, believe it or not, it scares me. So it makes me stay on my P's and Q's and be ready for the unexpected.
Both these sluggers share a healthy respect for each other's punching power, but they also share unhealthy intentions for each other's careers. Man your battle stations. McClellan Jackson II should be another war. Coming up, the WBC Middleweight Championship between the champion Gerald McClellan and former champion Julian Jackson. Standing by at ringside to call the blow-by-blow action are Steve Albert, Ferdy Pacheco, and Bobby Chaz. Steve.
Thanks again, Jim. Since Gerald McClellan took the title from Julian Jackson back on May 8th of '93, he has gone out and defended the belt twice. The first defense came August 6th, an easy first-round knockout of Jay Bell in Bayamon, Puerto Rico. Then on March 4th, McClellan made quick work of Gilbert Baptist, a first-round stoppage right here at the MGM Grand. So his last bout, 63 days ago. Exactly the same for two-time world champion Julian Jackson. Jackson has had 3 tune-up fights since McClellan. 2 first-round TKOs over Carlton Haywood and Jaime Montoya. And this past March, he decisioned Eduardo Ayala. Now, Gerald McClellan no longer working with trainer Emmanuel Stewart, who helped guide him to the WBC middleweight throne. He's now with Willie Brown. Will the change in trainers have an effect on the champion? Bobby, your thoughts?
A change in trainers that have guided world champions all the way to their titles could be drastically bad emotionally. Will Gerald McClellan trust his new trainer? But after Emmanuel Stewart told us earlier, the trainer is one of his disciples, a little guy that's in the gym with him all the time, a co-trainer. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be a problem here, but if he doesn't have what he needs in the corner and things get rough, that could be it, and it's mental, it's not physical.
All right, now Julian Jackson has had ongoing problems with his hand. Let's get the fight doctor's assessment of that and the possibility of retirement if he should lose.
I think the possibility of retirement is very good if he loses, but not because of his hands. He's had multiple eye surgery. He's had detached retinas fixed. He's had all kinds of trouble with both hands. He is at the downward turn of his career because his chin is suspect now. So if he got knocked out today, I think he could really realistically look at his career and say, that's it, I call it a day. I would not be surprised to see him retire. On the other hand, he's such a warrior, he might continue. On the other hand, nothing's to say that he can't win tonight because this guy can bang. So we've got another one of those 50-50 fights coming up right now. You don't know which one of these two guys is going to win.
Let's take our first look at the challenger. 33-year-old Julian Jackson from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. Jackson, the former WBC middleweight champion and former WBA junior middleweight champ, comes in with a record of 49-2 with 45 KOs. Julian Jackson, who made 5 successful defenses of his WBC title before that 5th-round TKO loss to Gerald McClellan last May. That defeat ended a 17-fight winning streak, 16 by knockout. And now here is the champion, 26-year-old Gerald McClellan out of Freeport, Illinois. McClellan 30-2, 28 knockouts. The 2 losses early in his career, 8-round decisions to Dennis Milton and Ralph Ward, back-to-back in '89. McClellan captured the WBC middleweight title almost a year ago to the day, May 8, 1993, with that stunning stoppage of the longtime middleweight champ Julian Jackson. He owns one of the best knockout ratios in the game, including 19 first-round KOs in 32 fights. Tonight, his 3rd title defense. As we zero in on the particulars, the tail of the tape at 26, Gerald McClellan is 7 years younger than Julian Jackson. The 1.5-inch height advantage for McClellan. Both weighed in at 160. And the 4.5-inch reach advantage for McClellan. McClellan down to a 3.5 to 1 favorite. To the rules, according to the WBC for this title fight, 10-point must system, 3 scoring judges, no standing 8, no 3 knockdown. Only the referee can stop the fight. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell except in the last round. So here at the MGM Grand Garden in Las Vegas, getting ready for the WBC Middleweight Championship, the rematch between Gerald McClellan and Julian Jackson. We go up to our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Well, fans, we welcome you to our next world title main event in this Revenge the Rematches, brought to you by Don King Productions and King Vision in association with SET Pay-Per-View, Corona Beer, and the MGM Grand. At this time, we present the rematch for the WBC Middleweight Championship of the World. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council, President Jose Sulaiman, Supervisor Haig Collegian, along with the Nevada State Athletic Commission Chairman Dr. Elias Ghanem. Presenting the judges as appointed: Cindy Barton, Bill Graham, and Dr. James Jenkin. Introducing to you the referee in charge of this bout, Joe Cortez. All right, fans, here we go with the rematch of the explosive bout that took place just 1 year ago, and this is for the WBC Middleweight Championship of the World, scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you first the challenger. On my left, he is fighting out of the blue corner. He enters the ring wearing gold trunks with red trim and hailing from St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. He weighed in at an even 160 pounds, and his record includes 49 wins, only 2 losses, with 45 big wins coming by way of knockout. He is currently ranked the WBC #2 middleweight in the world. Please welcome the knockout artist, who is the former 2-time world champion in the junior middleweight and middleweight divisions. Introducing Julian the Hawk Jackson. And his opponent across the ring is the defending champion. On my right, fighting out of the red corner, he enters the ring wearing green trunks with white trim, fighting out of Freeport, Illinois. He weighed in at the same weight of an even 160 pounds, and he steps into the ring with a record of 30 wins, only 2 losses, and he has 28 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, making his 3rd defense of his title, please welcome the hard-hitting WBC middleweight champion of the world, introducing the G-Man, Gerald McClellan. Once again, here's the referee in charge, Joe Cortez.
All right, gentlemen, come in. We went over the rules in the dressing room. I want a good, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Shake hands. Good luck.
Gerald McClellan, the only man on this card who had a little trouble making weight. Nothing new for the G-Man. He was a quarter pound overweight, went out, came back in an hour, weighed 160, saying afterwards, this is my last fight as a middleweight. He's probably closer to 180 for the fight. A key for Jackson could be to get this fight past the 4th or 5th round. Both McClellan and Jackson average under 4 rounds. Here we go, round 1, scheduled for 12 for the WBC Middleweight Championship. Gerald McClellan with a 5th round knockout over Julian Jackson in the first encounter.
McClellan's come out with a real good jab, and a big right hand.
Right off the bat, Jackson's in dire trouble. McClellan looking to finish him up seconds into the fight. Pummeling Jackson.
I'll tell you what, if they're going to stop this, if he doesn't offer up a punch, this fight's going to be over.
He should go down and take an 8 count.
I'll tell you, it gets better than getting hit like that.
Relentless attack by McClellan, and finally Jackson going down. Sort of.
4, 5, 6, 7.
The over-under 6 rounds. This might not go a minute. Back comes McClellan.
What McClellan doesn't want to do is get a little overconfident sloppy, because Jackson can punch.
And down goes Jackson for the 2nd time. And this time he looks like he's crumpled for good.
He hit him on top of the head on the way down, and I'm telling you, he is totally disoriented.
8.
He looks like he's not going to get up.
He's through. Joe Cortez says it's over. And in the first round, Gerald McClellan has retained his title.
And that's the first one where revenge did not take place. It stayed, the result stayed the same. Instant finish for Gerald McClellan. What a puncher.
Well,
didn't get a chance to talk about it on here. We talked about it in interviews. Jackson said he wanted to try and box first, but he couldn't get caught with that right hand. He had to box sharp. McClellan came out very aggressive, good sharp jab, landed the right hand at the beginning of the end.
You know, we've said all along, you've said, I've said, Steve has observed this guy has no chin anymore. Well, he got hit really hard, and he went down, and then, of course, with the chin that he's got, he couldn't overcome that attack.
Unofficially, a minute 23 into the first round, the 20th first round knockout in 30 wins for Gerald McClellan.
I'm going to continue, man.
Exploding.
If you just heard him, he said, I'm going to continue. I'm not sure why, but fighters hate to roll over and say, I quit.
Well, especially a fast one like that. I mean, you always have the feeling, I just got caught. I mean, let me go back and try that again. And he better never try it again with McClellan, because that's going to be the same result over and over again. Gerald McClellan can box.
If you think I was a little
let's take a look at that first knockdown and see what lightning struck Julian Jackson.
Whenever I hit him, he was going.
All right, let's take 3 looks. I'm going to take the first one, and Bobby's going to do the other 2 as I go up. There's a punch. That right hand right there. That right hand right there was the quietus. The rest of this is window dressing until he goes down, because he is sure taking some punishment here. That's a brutal attack, although he's hitting a lot of gloves and everything. As Bobby says, some of those hurt as well.
For sure, the repercussions travel through the glove. Certainly it's taken away a little bit, but they go through the gloves right into your chin, right into your face. And if it were that easy to just put the gloves up there and say, don't worry about it, knockouts wouldn't happen near as often.
That's true. Well, it's certainly Julian has taken an awful lot of punishment there. I mean, he really, actually, he didn't go down there. He didn't touch anything. But mercifully, they gave him a count.
He should have gone down at a certain point anyway, so he didn't get, as you'll see in this replay, he's just getting unloaded on with everything. Again, he gets lazy with the left hand, boom. Right hand's on the button, it's clean. Now his legs are a little bit under him now, although they're a little wobbly, but he just needs to go down and take the account. Take the rest and come back to fight. Sometimes that's a smart thing to do. It's difficult for fighters with a lot of pride to do it. I know unfortunately, I've been in that situation. I don't want to go down either.
Prior to his first fight with Jackson, McClellan toiled for the most part in obscurity, Bobby. The win over Jackson really put him on the map. This win really makes him one of the most devastating fighters in the world today.
And some fighters just fight even better as a champion. They rise to the championship status in their performance, and I think Gerald McClellan may very well be one of those people.
Now that was just the initial knockdown, the first. Here, the end of the fight.
Well, Gerald's a great finisher. He's coming in. He knows that Jackson's hurt. He wants to unload that bomb. Digs a good shot to the body. Watch this shot on top of the head. He hit him in the body. That hurt him more than we thought. And that shot on top of the head was actually just a kind of a pile driver to say, make sure you stay there.
The heavy-handed Julian Jackson putting it to the canvas as Gerald McClellan just lowers the boom. Let's get the official time from our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 1 minute 23 seconds in round number 1. The winner by way of knockout and still champion, the G-Man, Gerald McClellan.
Gerald McClellan continues his impressive knockout rate. He's 31-2 with 29 knockouts. And he got all he wanted to get here against Julian Jackson. No revenge in this fight. So coming up next here at the MGM Grand Garden, the main event, the rematch between Frankie Randall and Julio Cesar Chavez, as Chavez tries to regain his WBC Super Lightweight Championship and atone for his only defeat. And here's the man who pulled it off, the only man in history to defeat the mighty Chavez. Frankie Randall making final preparations for the rematch in his dressing room. Randall has held the title for 96 days. You hear the reaction. They're seeing this on the big screen, the Chavez contingency here. Now, in just a matter of minutes, he'll look to regain the title he took away, retain it from Chavez. For now, though, we'll go back up into the ring of the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco.
Well, you can't possibly be tired. That's the fastest I've ever seen you work.
Well, you know, I work hard, you know, I train hard. I know with my punching power and boxing ability, whenever I hit a guy on the chin with either hand or to the body, he's going to be in trouble.
Did Julian ever get one shot in that you felt?
Well, I got a little bruise on my right eye. I don't know if it was a punch or his hair. I don't know what it was, but, you know, I was too busy trying to, you know, get him out of there. I wasn't worried about what he was throwing back. The first shot I threw him with, I knew I had him. The very first shot he hit me with, he was weak. He felt like 147 pounds.
Here's what we're looking at the monitor now. You describe it. This is you. Now watch your first right hand. Now watch here. Now here comes the right hand.
When I hit him with that first right hand, he was hurt. He had to be hurt. You know, because Gerald McClellan's the hardest puncher out there in boxing, and whoever I hit with those shots will lay down.
Don't you think long about here, this guy had been better served to take an 8 count and not take all that punishment he was taking.
Believe it or not, you know, by him being in the ring so long, he's supposed to be a veteran. And if it was me, you know, with the experience I got, I went down on one knee and got the heat up off me and got up and got my mind together, collected myself, and started all over again.
None of that tired you out?
Well, you know, I was throwing a lot of punches. I was landing a lot. I would lie if I told you I wasn't tired. Whenever you're working hard, you got to be getting tired. If you're not tired, you're not working hard.
But you had the confidence that was going to be over in the first round.
I had a lot of confidence. Whenever Gerald McClellan gets a fighter hurt, get him in trouble, not swinging back, he's good as dead.
One last thing we've got to talk about is your weight. Your weight, you had to struggle to make it, and this is so successful. Are you going to stay here? You're going to go up?
Well, you know, I'll get that to me and Don to talk about that.
Well, let's talk about it. Don's right here, and Don hadn't said a thing all night. Don.
Well, we're going to work at it and see what he want to do, but I tell you right now, I just want to relish in his victory. I want to savor the victory he had tonight. He proved by far he's the best middleweight out there and would challenge any middleweight in the world, super middleweight or middleweight. So he can go all the way down the line, Ferdy. I think we got us a winner right here, and we're going to play him and let him get ready to go out there and knock out guys.
So far, we've had 2 revenges and one the same as it was the first time. Now comes the big 4.
Yeah, here comes the big 4 now. It's going to be one great night of boxing. It's been a super show. We had a boxing 101 lesson with Terry Norris, you know, and so here we got back with the knockout that just like we thought it would be. Somebody was going to leave, and it was Julian Jackson, but it was a great fight.
Well, let's see what Jim Gray finds out about Julian Jackson's plans.
Middleweight champion wearing the white trunks against the 24-year-old Gerald McClellan, originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and now fights out of the famous Kronk stable in Detroit. McClellan wearing the orange or golden trunks against John Mugabi, who's now 31 and has one of the most extraordinary records of any professional in the world. He's never had a fight that's gone the distance, and he's had 41 of them. He's won 38, and he's hurt a right hand from the young man McClellan, and Mugabi's over in the opening 30 seconds. And this was a fight everybody thought couldn't possibly go very far because these are 2 big punches, and McClellan, who's had only 24 fights, has already shown the power of his right hand. Mugabi is 31 years old now and looking very vulnerable to anything that hits him on the chin. But Mugabi has had many wins in the first round, and it wouldn't be beyond him to come back with something similar. So this WBO middleweight championship already proving to be quite something. The older man in the white trunks, not a hair on his head. This time the left hand catches Mugabi, and Mugabi's defenses are anywhere but at the Albert Hall tonight. And he's gone again, and Mugabi won't survive this. It's the first round, and he doesn't know where he is. He's up at 7. And Mugabi is ready to be taken, I'm afraid. The former world light middleweight champion, now all too vulnerable to heavy punching. And McClellan of the United States has won the vacant World Boxing Organization title in under 3 minutes. And Mugabi hardly ever laid a glove on him. That is a very, very upsetting performance indeed from Mugabi, but a triumph for the American. 24-year-old Gerald McClellan, winning his 23rd contest in 25, and Mugabi still needing some attention.
Our gentlemen, please. After 2 minutes of round one, ladies and gentlemen, the referee has stopped the contest. The winner of the new WBO middleweight champion of the world, Gerald McClellan.
So McClellan of Milwaukee is acclaimed the new WBO champion. Not that that means a great deal these days, because everybody seems to be a champion. There are 4
to present the championship
recognized championships at every weight now, and he's the WBO champion, which is a title that was formerly held by Chris Eubank. Now this is what happened. The first knockdown, big right hand, catches Mugabi on the side of the jaw, totally unprotected, and another punch follows up. I think that one might just have missed him, but he was all over the place at this point, and a wide open target for this big swinging young American. And there it was. Every punch that he threw couldn't fail but land. That was the first knockdown. And now the second. Mugabi seemed to have no defenses and no resistance to any sort of punch that hit him on that bald head. And at that point you knew